Oh, you know what? You know what? Fine. I'm gonna sit here and eat my mac and cheese for 2 minutes.
You gotta introduce the show. What are you talking about?
Yeah, sure. He steals my thing, and then I have to introduce the show. I know I have to. Welcome everybody to 123 Podcast. This is episode 28, and we're talking about Raw, the show that Brant stole the hype from.
We just thought alike. We were doing the same thing. That's all. That's all it was. It's funny when he came out, and we'll get into us. When he came out, I immediately, because I was like blown away. I immediately jumped up and started doing that.
Lisa must have looked at you with those kind of like.
I get that look a lot.
Okay, so I do too at home. I guess people just don't understand. Anyway, before we get into any news about Raw, we're just weird people, okay? It's part of the disclaimer, Kirby.
Just for no reason, just because he's there. Anyway, exactly. Go ahead. Disclaimer.
Well, no disclaimer. We have some news. Next
I thought you said disclaimer.
Well, I said disclaimer. We're weird.
Oh, gotcha.
Then I was going to mention about next week, starting with next week's episodes, not this episode, episode 28, or next episode 29, but ironically, starting with episode 30 of 123 Podcast, we will be, obviously we'll still be doing the video show, but we'll also be converting the audio on SoundCloud. So if you can't watch us on YouTube, you can still listen to us like Brant is doing. Good job, Brant.
Thank you.
For you.
I know how to listen with my ears.
You can tell it's late and we have had no alcohol, but it's like you're drunk at this time of night. But we promised you guys something exclusive, and we got it for you guys. So with next week's first episode, episode 30, which will be on Raw, and following every week from that point on, the thing that will be at the end of Raw, we will have an exclusive written review or report from our good friend Alan Mullen on SmackDown. So he'll be writing a report, and then Brant, if he can't do it, let's say 1 week, one of us, most likely it'll always be Brant because he has the voice for radio. Brant will be reading Alan's report on SmackDown, so you guys get an exclusive, on SoundCloud you get an exclusive review and report on SmackDown. On the Raw episodes, on the NXT episodes, it's still just going to be NXT, but that's your exclusive for now. Will there be more? Most likely.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put on my best voice. I'll be very eloquent. I'll do it justice. Be like, now it's time for the SmackDown report.
That would be so cool if you did like a newscaster.
Sound like Byron Saxton.
Okay, fine. Be whoever you want to be. I don't care if you want to be Carmella. Just be somebody and be happy.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Bada bing. I
was on a gaming stream today, and I'm like, I'm Italian, and I don't bada bing enough. I need to bada bing more. And the guy in the stream cracked up laughing because he's like, I'm like,
Chris, every time I see you in a video, you can be like, bada bing, bada boom.
When I see Shane McMahon, I think bada bing, the way he does his dance and his intro.
I think ching ching.
I think dollar dollar.
Dollar bill, y'all. Anyway.
But that's your update for 123's exclusive content as of this moment. Maybe we'll add something to the NXT one at some point, but for right now, we have something additional for Raw.
Speaking of Shane McMahon, since his appearance on Raw, he's been posting updates of him training to get ready for The Undertaker. Have you seen any of these? He's like in the gym working out and everything, and I still don't buy it. We'll talk about it when we get there, but it's kind of interesting. It plays into the whole social media aspect of it. I'm enjoying it.
I like it because I think there was mention, so I guess this could be news a little bit. There was mention, and I think either you, see, I get news from wrestling now from you and Alan, so I mix up who gives me what news. One of you mentioned that Shane McMahon is still tentative because they're waiting to see if maybe John Cena will be ready by WrestleMania.
I did not tell you that, but I did read that. And yeah, that's the thing. They're thinking because the original plan supposedly was for Undertaker to face John Cena at WrestleMania. So,
And lose?
well, maybe not now. If
I'm gonna say my opinion on Shane
yeah,
versus Undertaker for when we talk about it.
right.
But there's a lot. Honestly, a lot of stuff revolves around that Shane O'Mac part. So maybe we should wait because
Yeah,
we're gonna
let's
get
wait.
into Raw then.
Let's get into some news. First of all, we're talking. We're already jumping the gun for WrestleMania, but let's jump past WrestleMania for a second. There are going to be 2 pay-per-views in May.
Right.
There are going to be none in March. I don't know if you noticed that, but there's absolutely no pay-per-view next month.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
Okay.
they always do this. They do it where it's the end of February, not in March, or they do it at the very I'm talking
Or
like March 31st, like February 30th or 31st, right before March hits. They always do that.
February 30th, huh?
30th. I don't
That's
know what month.
28.
28th.
This
Hey,
month.
February doesn't even have 30 days.
That's what I'm saying.
See me. Stop it.
You're the one that said it.
I know I'm the one that said it.
This year it's 29 days. But,
I know it's leap year, but still,
yeah.
I'm saying every month except for this stupid month has to have 30 days. Who ever heard of giving a month only 29 days or 28 when it's not leap year? Who's the dope that came up with that calendar?
Anyway, we're not going to get into the history of the American calendar.
They don't do that.
Ah. So either WrestleMania is like at the very end of March or the very beginning of April, whatever. So the interesting thing though is there's 2 pay-per-views in May now. We have one on May 1st, which is Payback, I think,
Yes.
and then Extreme Rules is on May 22nd, just 3 weeks later.
Which makes no sense because then what about June? Is June gonna have a pay-per-view?
I assume it'd be later in June, but
Well,
yeah,
if it's 3 weeks,
it'll probably be 5 weeks until the one in June.
so it might be the end of the second to least last week of the month for June, maybe? I don't know.
It's weird. I mean, it's a good thing
I
that WWE Network exists because 2 pay-per-views in 1 month, that's like, what?
$120.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But the thing is, though, Payback, the way they were advertising it, and I noticed it this past Monday, they were like, I love how they're like, Roman Reigns wants to, Dean Ambrose is on the road to, and I'm like, what the hell are you advertising? And it's like, Payback. I'm like,
Yeah.
is it a house show? And then it's like, no, it's a pay-per-view. Oh, great. So that's going to be after WrestleMania. It's going to be great. Okay, yeah, I'm sure it will be great. I'm sure none of those wrestlers are going to be facing each other, that's for sure. But it's Payback.
You know what doesn't make sense about Payback to me?
Payback?
Well, yes, but all right, if you think about it thematically, WrestleMania, and if you think about it seasonally, WrestleMania is like the end of the season. It's like the Super Bowl. It's like the World
Right.
Series. It's the end of that wrestling season.
Right.
Payback, by definition, is like revenge. It's like getting somebody back for what happened the previous month. So if WrestleMania is the end, but Payback is the repercussion for that, doesn't that make WrestleMania not the end anymore?
Technically, I would have rather it have gone the other way around, where it's Extreme Rules, and then whatever happened at Extreme Rules, there's Payback.
That would make more sense.
And Payback shouldn't be a pay-per-view. Payback should be like, oh God, what are those things where WWE does them sometimes, where not on a Raw or SmackDown, but like an event that isn't really a pay-per-view, like a house show, but it's also televised.
Like a primetime special?
Something like that, yeah. Because having 2 pay-per-views in 1 month, it doesn't make sense.
I know. It doesn't make sense to me either, but that's the way it is, unfortunately. But I guess we're getting more wrestling. Hopefully it'll be good wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if this Raw is any indication of what we have to expect in the weeks to come,
Yeah.
shit, yeah, I'm ready for this stuff, man. Get me pumped for that. Here
It's-
comes the money, my money.
It's interesting that you cursed there because that leads into another story, which
I know,
is,
I did that on purpose. I'm a cheeky bastard, aren't I?
which is WWE is planning to increase the edgy material on TV up to WrestleMania. We don't know if it's going to continue afterwards. We already saw that Vince McMahon dropped an F-bomb. when he was talking to Shane, that's what they bleeped
Oh, they
out.
bleeped them out. Yep.
Yeah, and which is funny because the crowd was chanting "Holy S" when he came out, and they didn't bleep that out at all. But
But the thing is, you gotta understand, they brought the Dudley Boys back,
yeah,
Shane O'Mac's back, The Rock came back. All of these superstars were in the Attitude Era or in the not PG era, and and now Edge and Christian got their own show, which is reeks of total awesomeness, by the way.
does.
Totally reeks of awesomeness. But
5 second
anyway,
pose. Okay.
that was my 5 second pose of what the hell. I was like, I didn't even get ready for a pose, and he's like, 5 seconds. No, but I feel like they're starting to realize, yes, PG's good because they have kids, but they can be edgier.
Yeah.
Extremely like HLA or
So,
mud wrestling, bikini matches, whatever. But there's a midway. There's a midway between the PG and the old ways. There's a midway where we'll still have not derogative female wrestling and not kill. Huh?
I'll tell you what it is. You know what it's called? That middle ground that you're talking about?
If you say DC Comics, I'll hit you.
No, 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 no. I was going to
Okay.
say 3 letters. NXT.
See, I knew it. It's true, because NXT is a perfect balance of those two things. It's edgy, but at the same time, it's pretty PG. I think they can pull it off. I think that the reason they're only doing it till WrestleMania is they're testing it.
I hope so. I mean, obviously, the drama's got to be picked up for WrestleMania so you can get more people watching WrestleMania. But I really do hope that they see that, fans kind of attached to that and that they continue it afterwards because we need something different. We need unpredictability. We need to get away from the formulaic stuff that they've been doing for a long time now.
And that's mainly because of Vince. I think that Vince is trying to really pound it in. And the fact that Shane came back proves that, and again, there's some backstage stuff and truth that that's very uncomfortable. I don't understand how people could stick in reality with their storyline and not get too personal. But I guess we'll get into that with Shane. But there was some personal stuff that Shane said on Raw that was kind of true, and it was the script.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's just like when Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett feuded in TNA. That was very real. Or Edge and Matt Hardy in WWE. It's but sometimes it makes for the best storytelling if you can bring some of that personal stuff in. Because you're pulling from an area that you definitely are very well aware of.
Well, the good news with Edge and Matt now is they both share something. They both lost Lita. So now they can be friends again.
Yeah.
And Lita could be a slut again.
That's mean, dude. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, they played her that, and I'm
They did play her that way.
played her that way
Yeah.
because that's how she went out. And now, joking aside, I think that was a horrible way to send her out. They sent Trish out honorably. AJ went out honorably. Lita went out a slut.
Yeah. She's come back. I mean, her and Trish had that last match too, and that was really good.
Yeah, but I feel like she deserved a storyline to fix her something.
Well, maybe so, but anyway. Let's see. Was that all? What? Speaking of divas, that's a good segue too.
I'm good tonight. I'm rolling with the punches, yo. I'm rolling.
So there's a little bit of news on Total Divas. Their numbers are declining, like rapidly. Like since they've come back, there's been 6 episodes. I think 5 or 6 episodes. Every single week, the viewership has gone down. Every single week.
Well, what are they doing? Okay, I don't watch it, so I don't count. So I wasn't a viewer from the beginning. So even though it's declining, it's not my fault. What, as a watcher, you are a watcher.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing differently this season that they didn't? What are they doing different between last season and this season that you believe could be was last season so? I mean, because I know the Nikki John Cena really is what made me want to watch, and of course the Paige parts because Paige is freaking awesome. So I mean, is this year less like that?
This year, I feel like it's more rinse and repeat. It's a lot of the same stuff, and I think it's just getting old and played out. you're
Is it getting faker too, by the way?
no, I don't think so. I think it's getting less dramatic. I would say
Well,
there's some drama with like Paige and Alicia and Rosa. They're like they have these little spats, but then by the end of the episode they've made up and hugged and
I
it's
saw the advertisement, one of them where Alicia and her went to a bar. Alicia and Paige went to a bar and they got in a lot of trouble.
yeah they got in a lot of trouble, but it was like it was played up to where they were going to be like suspended or something, and it turned out to be like, oh, it wasn't really your fault, so it's okay, and they didn't get a slap on the wrist or anything, so it was fine. Yeah, stuff like that. There's a lot of concentration on Nikki, and oh, she's injured and all this stuff. Should I? It's around the time when Seth Rollins broke John Cena's nose. That's
Oh,
when this is taking
it's a
place.
lot back. Okay.
Yeah, so and they've brought in one of the Tough Enough girls. She's joined the cast now, and you're seeing less of like Eva Marie. And I mean, you see a little bit of her because her and this new girl are good friends now. And I don't know, it's trying to focus more on Paige and stuff, but it's really corny stuff. It's like she's
Paige's life, honestly, I follow her on Instagram. It's interesting, but you can't base a whole show around Paige's life because she's really a lot of, going out, having a good time, chilling with her friends, and that's it.
exactly.
That's life, and it's a rinse and repeat. If you don't believe me, go on Paige's Instagram. I am a very honored follower of Paige. And that's really all she does. She goes to a different place, she parties, there's pictures, she comes back, she wrestles, she goes out, it's God bless her. That's how she lives
Well,
her
she's
life.
still young too, yeah.
So, but that's not something you can base a show on. No.
Yeah, and it's just it's a lot of stuff like that, and there's been a lot of focus on Rosa this year, and like Rosa, we never even see her on TV.
Yeah, I
So
was gonna say, who the hell's Rosa?
yeah,
Is she like the maintenance woman?
no, she used to be in the ring, and then she left and went to rehab and came back, and I don't know where she's at now, but anyway, oh yeah, she was pregnant on this show, so she probably just had the baby or is about to. So
And that's another thing. Maybe Total Divas is so far in the past that it's kind of like, geez. I mean, I remember when John Cena broke his nose. That was like almost the beginning of the middle of last year.
yeah, I mean, and this is season 5 of the show. It's been going on for a while. Just to give an idea of the numbers, they dropped 30% since the season premiere. Last season they were getting 1 million viewers per episode. This week, this last episode got 777,000. So
Wow.
yeah, so they dropped like 300,000 viewers almost.
I'm surprised. I wonder why. I mean, maybe it's because they want more. See, I love people. I love people so much. People are nosy. They want to get into people's lives. That's why Real World is so good. Maybe that's why Total Divas was so good, because they got literally in the face of John
Yeah.
Cena and Nikki's relationship. They were in the middle of every fight, everything that happened with them. Maybe people want something that's, or the other girl, I forgot her name, Natalia. They
Yeah.
got really into her life. They got deep. Maybe that's what people want. They want
Yeah.
they want to get into somebody else's life.
Yeah, because I mean, these past few episodes especially have just been kind of toned down with all that. And like I said, it's like they wrap it up in a bow. It's like they present a problem at the beginning of the episode. They have these issues between each other, and then they wrap it up and hug and are besties at the end of the episode. It's like, and you see that every week. And I'm getting really bored with it too. I put it on while I'm working just to have it in the background, but yeah.
That's why that's what I thought that the show was when you first told me about it. I'm like, it's going to be like that. And see, I'm glad it wasn't originally like that, but it always ends up that way. When shows get popular and real life starts to get boring, they start to throw little fights and stuff in, and it's just over and over.
Yeah,
and over.
exactly. So for me, it's run its course, and I think that's kind of telling. But who knows? It's on E, so you know how they like to carry those kind of shows for years and years. So who knows?
It doesn't matter. I'm happy for the Divas, regardless of how
course.
bad the numbers are. They're going to still have their show, so congratulations to them. But
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's all the news, unless you had anything else.
No, really, a lot of it centers around, I think, Shane McMahon and
Yeah,
the beginning of the show. So,
right.
I mean, we could jump into that as it's news and what happened at the beginning of Raw before we get into any matches, which
Yeah,
I thought it was. I wasn't expecting it. Like I wasn't. I was on Monday night, so I'm like, if they do anything stupid, I'm shutting the TV and I'll just watch it on Hulu or I'll watch it on YouTube. And when they did that award, and I told you, I said it was either going to be Triple H or Stephanie that got that award.
of course.
And it was Stephanie. I turned the TV off. Not 2 seconds after I turned the TV off, I got a message from Alan. He's like, "Dude, Shane's back." I'm like, "What?" And I turned the TV on, and I guess my cable's a couple of seconds behind. I turned it on as he was walking through the front, as he came out,
Yeah.
and I literally only missed when his music played, but they replayed that so much throughout the night, I got the whole
Yeah, you got the feeling.
thing.
I'm telling you, you told me I should watch the whole episode, not watch the Hulu version, which I did. And I was sitting there, and like I said at the beginning of the show, I was sitting there like, okay, Chris said this is gonna be a 5-star show. There better be something good happening in this. And I'm like watching Stephanie. I'm like, oh god. And then all of a sudden that music hits, and I'm like, I was like, yes.
It was like, because I was under the impression, and you correct me, and you can mention it here. I was under the impression with Shane that he left WWE because he wanted nothing to do with wrestling. Like he wanted to break away from his father's kingdom, so to speak. But then you said actually something different. It was involving Triple H and
Yeah,
Steph.
yeah, that's the thing. I thought that too, and then I read some articles and started researching it myself to see exactly what happened. And basically, what happens in this segment, which he brings up, and we'll go into that. He actually thought he was in line to take over the company. He was ready. It was his legacy and so on and so forth. And then Vince made it very clear that he was choosing Stephanie and Triple H to take over the day-to-day operations of the company. And Shane was like, "All right, fine. I'm passed over. I'm done. I'm going to go, create my own legacy, basically." And he went off and left the company and did his own thing. And I'm sure there's a lot more to it that we'll never
I'm sure
know.
there was cursing, and he was missing family dinners for a while. But yeah,
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some issues between the two of them, and that came up in this, which they played on. And like when Vince told them, you could take your ball and go and leave like you've done before, that was like a real
that was
thing.
real.
And yeah, it
He
was.
did take his ball and walk away the last time after the DX thing.
Yeah, so very very tense conversation there once you know that some of it's based in reality.
I wonder if now they have him set as a performer. You said not as the boss or like
Yeah,
one of the heads or anything.
right.
So see, I have a brother. If my mother was the leader of a multi-billion-dollar company like wrestling, my expectations, having a sibling, would be that she would leave it to both myself and my brother, not myself and my wife, or my brother and his wife. She would leave it to me and my brother, as in Shane and Steph. Now, Stephanie's married to Triple H. Obviously, Triple H would have power, or a little bit of power, to boot with him. But Steph makes the rules, and Shane should have been that second person, not Triple H. And Shane's wife, who doesn't want to be involved in wrestling at all, doesn't have to have a say. So it could have been the three of them, and it could have been great. There's no reason, and it's not like Shane has maybe he does. Maybe their goals were different. But he did say one thing that made me think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, because I think it's still Vince calling the shots, in general.
Ultimately, yeah.
But when Shane said, this show hasn't been good since you started taking over, I thought back. I thought back to when I started watching, and I thought back to what I was hearing before I started watching wrestling. Other than Seth Rollins, other than the whole Shield in general thing, wrestling has sucked.
Yeah.
It has sucked under their watch. And if it is Vince, well, maybe Vince should step down, and maybe Shane and Steph should run the company with Triple H together. I would say that's not a far cry, but I think Shane's already. I mean, what legacy? He has a company. Is his company good? I mean, I don't know film company. Yeah, exactly. I don't know the film company.
Yeah, it's I forget what it used to be called, but it's called You on Demand, and it's a Chinese multimedia company. Or it used to be called Chinese Broadband. So it's like a cable
Okay.
company or something. I'm not sure,
So Shane left wrestling and opened up a cable company.
basically. I, I don't know. It's it's true though with Stephanie and Triple H in charge, and like we said, Vince still ultimately makes the final decisions, and he's the one that's behind like mid episode rewrites and stuff like that, and he's still very heavily involved in every episode of Raw and so on and so forth.
And I'm thinking, what about Shane's kids? Shane mentioned he has 3 children.
3 boys.
They're not okay. So since Shane was written out of WWE, right, and it's Steph and Triple H, what about Shane's kids when they get older? This is a legacy, and he mentioned passing it down to his kids and Stephanie's kids. By the time his kids are older, all he's going to be is that cable company head. He's not going to have ownership in WWE. So it's like, oh, and Stephanie has WWE, but that was your grandfather's. That was your great grandfather's, but not yours.
I don't know. Honestly, I mean that's a lot of stuff between them, and whatever they end up working out in the long run. I'm sure he's in the will. I mean, I'm sure
Positive he's
he's
in the
got
will,
some kind of stock options or something, surely.
but he
But
has no say on wrestling. He has no hand in what his grandfather and his father built up, which I would be pissed off.
yeah, at this point, who knows what happens in the future? Maybe he comes back, and we may never even know that or see that. It
Very
may be all behind, excuse me, all behind the scenes. But I don't know. It was just once you know that actually happened, and that whole conversation between him and Steph, and him and his dad, and it was just like, oh, okay. And he handled it like with this cool expression, like, you know what I'm saying? It was
Maybe he
Shane.
got over it.
Yeah.
Maybe he's making good money in his company, and it's like this is just like extra money for me.
Yeah. Either way, this was the right time for him to come back.
Oh
It
yeah.
was so needed, and it got people talking. It got us excited. It amped up WrestleMania, even though we're still not sure what's going to happen with all that. We'll talk about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, basically, all right. Let's just go into it because that was the opening of the show. Basically, when all the conversation is done, and Shane comes in, and basically says, I have something over you, Dad, kind of thing. It's like we have this understanding that I have a stake in this company now. That was the storyline.
I wonder if that's true though.
I don't know, but that's the storyline. And he was like, I want to control Raw. I want to take over Raw.
Which
And
has my own worry, but we'll get to that also later.
yeah,
Keep going.
and Vince was like, well, if you control Raw, you control the whole company. I'm not going to let that happen. And then long story short, he said he wanted Shane to do one match, in one time.
One night.
Yeah, one night. Thank you. And so he's like, okay, sure. So he's like, all right, you're going to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania in Hell in a Cell. And if you can beat The Undertaker, you get Raw. If not, you leave and never come back or whatever.
And I get all the stuff that's in your trust box.
Yeah, all the stuff in the little black box or whatever. So I was like, okay, Undertaker's only been beaten once at WrestleMania, and that was by Brock Lesnar. There's got to be a swerve here. There's got to be something because there's no way.
Because if there isn't something, it's lose-lose. If Shane
Exactly.
loses, that's it. Bye, Shane. Nice seeing you. If Undertaker loses, that's a second loss.
Yeah.
And basically, either one of them wins, we lose.
Yeah, and the thing is, if this is just to get people to watch WrestleMania and get people excited, and then Shane loses and goes home, and that's that, I will be so ticked. You know what? I mean, that would just like push it over the line for me, I think.
I think I would walk away for a time. Yeah, I think 1, 2, 3 would strictly be NXT for a while, and Alan would be writing for Raw and SmackDown.
I think it'd have to be because I would be so disillusioned with everything. It'd be like they just smacked us in the face. But if that doesn't happen, okay, like you said, it is lose-lose because either Undertaker loses twice in 3 years, or Shane McMahon loses and he's done or whatever, or maybe he's given SmackDown.
Or it's a draw.
Or it's a draw.
I didn't think of that, did you?
I did not think of that. Okay, so let's go back to what we were talking about. John Cena is like on the shelf, but they're hoping that he comes back. He was the original match for Undertaker. Could it be that somehow Shane works out to where he has a surrogate fight for him, and it's John Cena. And John Cena beats The Undertaker because, after all, if Brock can beat him, surely John Cena can.
Or it could be a tag match. Vince and Undertaker versus. No, that wouldn't be good.
No.
I wanted to see a Shane versus Vince match. I think that would have been better. I really do.
I don't think that can happen at the stage with Vince.
Screw Vince. I don't care. He wants to do this stupid crap. Then he should put his neck out on the line too. But beside the point, maybe John Cena will be a surrogate. But then again, we still lose. If John Cena loses, Shane loses. If John Cena beats the Undertaker, Super Cena, we lose twice. We lose because Undertaker lost, and we lose because John Cena won.
Yeah, that's the thing. What happens if John Cena is Shane McMahon's guy? It's like, okay, we love Shane, but and I'm saying as the universe. I'm not saying myself, but I'm saying we love Shane, but we hate John Cena. So, yay if John Cena beats Undertaker because Shane's in charge, but boo because we don't want Undertaker to lose to John Cena. So it's like
exactly. So it's like
yeah, it's like they're if that's the case, if that's what's happening, it's like they're forcing you to accept one thing that you hate to get something
exactly.
you like.
And that's what I hate that. I don't want that. That's not something I want to think about in wrestling. I want to think about I want this person to win or I want that person to win. When we talk about our hopes for WrestleMania, I don't want to have to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But rumor is actually that Sasha is going to be facing Charlotte, by the way, at WrestleMania, so that'll be easier.
I think that's a no-brainer. I like Becky, but no, she's not at that level yet. I don't think.
Yeah. But then let's say Shane wins and he gets Raw, which basically essentially means that Stephanie and Triple H get SmackDown because there's two shows. That's a brand. That's a separation of brand. Well, possibly, but let's pretend they do. That's a separation of brands. That means the draw comes back.
Well, not necessarily, but yeah, that's another rumor that they're going to do a brand split, which was kind of what happened before. I think Triple H and Stephanie they started off fronting SmackDown at one point.
They did.
Yeah. So then that would be like going back in history. They're back on SmackDown, and then. It comes to that point. If you do a brand split, and I know you're against it, and you can say why you're against it in a minute. But if you do a brand split, then you've got a lot of factors to consider. A, you only have one world title now, so you
have to make another one, yeah.
Or one show's not going to have a champion, or who knows. B, if they're going to do a brand split and Triple H and Stephanie are going to be on SmackDown, SmackDown has to go live. It cannot be pre-recorded like this.
Yes.
It can't. So there's a lot of problems to work through here. And I don't know.
And not only that, people didn't like when they had the voting and one of their favorite wrestlers on their favorite show moved to another show. Yes. That was a humongous problem, and that's really honestly what pushed me away. I think that's when I stopped watching wrestling, was around the point where this person was only on Raw. Now, it is good for the superstars, though, because it splits the brand, and we don't have to worry about seeing like the same matches twice.
And it gives more superstars a chance to, have screen time.
Yeah, but at the same time, who wants to just watch Who wants John Cena on Raw? I'd rather he be on SmackDown and bring back freaking Roman Reigns to Raw because he doesn't belong on SmackDown and have him with Dean Ambrose, who's on Raw. You know what I mean? There's always a problem. Somebody will always find a problem. One person will like Sheamus. I don't know who. But one person will like Sheamus, but he'll be on SmackDown, but they love watching Raw because that's where all their other favorite superstars are. There was too many negatives. I mean, if they ran the shows and all the superstars were connected, in all the shows, that's one thing. Like, each one had a general manager. That's different. But
it was also confusing because, like, at Elimination Chamber, you had to have two separate title Elimination Chamber matches. The Royal Rumble was like, they can choose which title they want to go for.
And then you had to pick which main event for WrestleMania also, which title was going to be the main event.
Yeah, and it's just, there was a lot of problems with it. There was, like we said, there were good points with it. And, if they did it differently this time, they threw out the draft, they didn't create another title, and it was just basically that. I don't know how you'd handle a brand split now because they also lost several of their top guys. They're still injured.
Right. So it would be very hard to do it,
Yeah.
right? Especially right after. It would have to happen right after WrestleMania
Mm-hmm.
or a week or two after WrestleMania, and that's I don't know. No, I think we've gone. We went through the phase. It's done. We're back to the way we were before. Nothing you could do.
I thought of another theory.
Uh
Payback is a month after WrestleMania, like
huh.
almost to the date. Um, Shane loses to Undertaker. He actually does fight Undertaker and loses.
Uh huh.
Payback. He somehow weasels his way into another opportunity.
Like there's a second key or something. Like the father gets the first key and then he finds out there's another key.
Something like that. I don't know. Something crazy. Some way he works his way back in and wins whatever that match ends up being. Gets control. There's like a bigger plan bigger thing at plan here. So who knows?
Who knows? But I think Shane is only contracted until WrestleMania right now.
That worries me. I don't want him to just show up and just disappear. That would not be good for me.
That would be pretty bad for business, no pun intended.
Yeah, and you're gonna. I mean, if he does lose, you have to watch Raw just to make sure there's not a swerve, because they do that all the time. But then after that Raw, it's like, if it's still the same, it's done. But maybe we should talk about some other matches.
Yeah, let's. I think we've speculated enough with Shane right now. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's really not much else to do with.
Yeah, no, I was waiting till you get finished.
No, I'm done. Yeah, not much to do. Period.
Okay, all I was gonna say was one thing for sure Shane did was increase both of our enjoyment of Raw this week.
Absolutely.
So
Not the matches so much. Some of them were good. Some
some
of
of
them weren't.
exactly.
The ones you could skip were the tag ones, like the Usos versus Ascension for no apparent reason, just to promote the Dudleys versus Usos at some point. New Day versus Neville and the new Lucha Dragons. Why? 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 Stupid.
Yeah.
Dumb. And then the rematch from the pay-per-view the night before. The Wyatts versus the Titans, and Ryback walks out. And you see Kane. You said you see Kane telling Ryback to walk out.
Yeah. Kane is waiting to do the choke slam, and he's like looking over at Ryback, and Ryback's apparently not doing anything, and he's like, "I want to go, man." And he's like, "Just go." And then you see Ryback just jump down for no apparent reason and just walk away, and it's like, "What? What just happened here?" And I mean, they try to explain with the backstage segment. I'm done with all these tag matches. I'm going up for me. But it was like, really?
That is the dumbest heel turn.
Yeah, you couldn't wait for like a tag and then drop down, or you couldn't attack them or something. I'm just going to walk out in the middle of the match when it's about to end. And it was really weird.
And then the Sasha Banks versus Naomi match, which was kind of a follow-up also to the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, what's-her-name got involved.
Of course.
Becky came out to save Sasha. They're besties, and then Charlotte, the bitch, comes out and mentions that they're having a big tournament between all the women, and the winner of the tournament will face Charlotte at WrestleMania, which automatically made me go, what the hell? Because
I didn't think it was a tournament.
Yeah, I think it's a tournament. It's gonna be a who beats what? Who beats who?
I thought it was going to be Sasha versus Becky, and whoever won between those two.
No, I think the whole roster is gonna be involved, the whole women's roster. But Becky and Sasha are gonna be obviously involved because they want the belt.
I totally missed that. If that was what it was. I could have swore it was just the two of them were going to fight.
I think it's gonna come down to the two of them, and Sasha's gonna win. But that kind of upsets me because what about Brie Bella? I thought she would win the belt at WrestleMania, and then come on, like her husband won the belt, and then after that,
Brie Bella.
I guess not. Then never mind.
No, that's fine. That's what you thought, and that's cool. I don't like Brie Bella, and I don't care if I ever see her wrestle ever again.
Well, you won't very soon.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I actually do like Nikki Bella in the ring. I think she's really improved, and she can actually wrestle. Brie,
Good, she'll be back.
Yeah, Brie just, it's not believable.
Yeah, I watched her wrestle, and it was hard to watch Brie wrestle, especially when she Brie Bree something.
Free mode.
Bree mode. I'm like,
Yeah.
Bree mode? Okay. She's gone Super Saiyan, bitch.
Yeah, and it's weird because she did like Daniel Bryan's kicks, right? She was wearing his
Yes.
kick pads, and she did Nikki's forearm smash, and I'm thinking, okay, Bree's legs are like so skinny that can't hurt that bad, and that forearm, I mean, Nikki powerlifts, she's got strength. Bree does
Right.
not have that. It just does not have the same impact, and that's
And the way she lost to Charlotte was sad, too. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah, she tapped out like before she was even fully in the move. It was just like it's just like she was winning 2 seconds ago, and it's just like, oh, legs hurting because it got hit earlier. It was sad. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's a fast lane sidetrack.
yeah.
But I don't believe Brie Bella, and something she said on Total Divas actually bothered me too.
Okay,
She
so maybe this could be it.
Well, I mean, I just watched it last night when I was working, but she said she was trying to take care of her sister, and she was saying you need to get your injuries checked out. You don't want to, cause yourself serious harm, whatever, which was fine. But she said something. It just hit me wrong, and I know it's not the way she meant it, but it hit me wrong because she said if it came between, wrestling and my body, I'm going to choose. I'm not going to put my body on the line, and I'm like.
But
You're in
you
the
do that
wrong
every night.
business. You're in the wrong business if you got that attitude, because that's part of it. And I'm not saying you should like Ed shouldn't continue wrestling when he could possibly be paralyzed. That's different.
Right, it's like Hulk Hogan. He powered through a lot of surgeries, but now I think if you even touched a man, his bone will break.
Yeah, he went too long. But you're not gonna sacrifice your body for that. Then you don't need to be there because that's part of it. You have to. That's just
Right.
part of the job.
Exactly. That's why I'd never wrestle because I think about all the broken bones and
Yeah.
the spine and the operations. I'm like, nope,
Roman
nope.
Reigns from Monday.
Well,
we'll
Roman
talk about
Reigns.
that.
Yeah, that was another piece of news. I love that somebody quoted. Well, we'll talk about that with the main event. Let me talk about
Yeah.
one match I did like, which was Jericho and AJ Styles versus the stupid social outcasts. I hate those idiots. I'd rather watch New Day wrestle. They're more entertaining at least. They've got the horn, they've got the trumpet, they got that.
Yeah.
Can't do it while I'm sitting, but at least they're entertaining. Social outcasts are just rejects.
I agree. They're not that funny. It's really every once in a while there's like a tiny bit of humor there,
Yeah, but now
but
I have a problem.
what?
They're forming a bond, Chris Jericho and AJ Styles, as a tag team, and that's taking AJ away from the singles matches and putting him in the tag team division. And they tagged up on SmackDown, and they won. They won against New Day. Was it New Day? New
Yeah,
Day.
it was against New Day.
And it's great that they're a tag team. I'm glad, but then that means that either one of two things are going to have to happen. One, either Jericho or AJ are going to have to go heel and then separate, or one of them is going to have to get injured, which 90% will be Jericho because people want AJ Styles to wrestle, so they'll fake a Jericho injury in order to get AJ back. I don't want AJ to be a tag partner. I want him to be going for the freaking at least Intercontinental or U.S. Championship soon.
I completely agree with you. I think this tag thing. I thought it was okay for a one-off, maybe even a two-off this week. Be done with it now.
They've already got a catchphrase. Why to AJ?
I know. I hate it. I hate it. I don't want this at all. Like I said, it was fine for once or twice. Maybe once in a while they have each other's backs, that kind of thing. But I don't want to see that. I want to see AJ be the pit bull that he has been since he came in, and just tear through. Yeah.
If they make a shirt, that's it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement with you there. That's my only problem with this. The match, I mean, they were good. AJ and Jericho, they were
I
really
love
good.
both of them. They're both
Yeah.
my favorite wrestlers, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't want them together right now. I want them to single, and then, every now and again, if they want to tag up, fine. Hey, bro, you want to tag up and fight these two idiots that are running them? Fine. But singles matches as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's all of it except for the main event.
Then Sheamus versus Roman Reigns.
Again,
Uh,
Sheamus. Why Sheamus? Why? I don't understand why Sheamus.
because Stephanie said so, apparently, and she's a bitch.
Because there's nobody else.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
too.
real reason. There's nobody else. So
There really isn't at this point. And the way Ric Flair's talking about Randy Orton, we won't be seeing Orton until this time, maybe next year.
yeah. So the whole League of Nations were getting involved at first, and then they get kicked out during the commercial break. Fine, whatever. So the match is really it matters. It doesn't matter at all.
No.
It never even has a finish because Triple H comes out,
Yep.
and
And
that's
then beats the hell out of
he beats Sheamus within an inch of his life. I mean,
Uh,
not Sheamus, Roman Reigns. I wish he beat Sheamus. It'd been awesome. Just like, I don't like you. Look stupid.
You're that stupid mohawk.
And then Reigns grabs a razor, and then they go at it. I don't know. Wait, no, that's stupid.
Fan fiction.
But no, yeah. So Triple H comes out there, and it's basically the reverse of what we saw when Roman Reigns took Triple H out. It's the absolute reverse of that, and he's like banging his head against the announce table, and I'll let you talk about that. And he gets busted open. So, and then he gets pedigreed on the steps.
And it's the end of the show. Byron Saxton passed him some blood pellets. Somebody standing behind the news,
The announcers.
the announcers, took a video and shared it on the internet. It showed Byron Saxton putting the blood pellets down, and then Roman Reigns taking them and squirting them. And the stupid idiot Roman Reigns, his whole hand was red. He didn't squirt it right. If you look at the picture he posted on Instagram, his hand is red with dye.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Look at it. Go on his Instagram real quick. It would take all of about 2 minutes. It's one of the two pictures that are on top. His whole hand is red, and you know that even if it's blood, it would not dye an entire hand. One hand, not the other, red.
Oh, wow, it is.
It is.
It's like he's wearing a glove, but he's not.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, he is, but you know what I
Because
mean.
he must have grabbed it and squirted it like this instead of like this, so it went back into his hand.
Yeah.
And that's why there wasn't a lot on his face either, if you noticed.
Yeah. But, I mean, they're explaining, they used that because he actually legitimately had a pre-existing condition with his nose that he had to have emergency surgery on. And that's what we saw pictures of that and everything. He really did have surgery. That wasn't fake. So that's how they explained it. They were like, okay, we'll bust them open.
We'll have Triple H beat the shit out of your nose.
Exactly. But I mean that makes sense. It's got to be a back and forth. Whatever. It's going to be like this all the way to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was hoping Shane would get involved somehow, but I guess.
Yeah.
It is.
Who knows what's going to happen with that? I don't know. I'm just glad he's back. Even if I say I don't want him to go away, but even if it's for a short time, I love that they surprised us. We didn't see this coming. It was out of left field. It was the least thing I would have expected.
I agree.
And that's what I want to see, especially at this time when we're going up to WrestleMania. I want to see that kind of surprise and unpredictability.
I 100% agree with you, and I think that's what made this Raw flip-flop completely from the two Raws that we had that were near. One was a 0 and one was a 1. For me, this definitely goes to a 4.5 to 5, and I know Alan said it was a 5 out of 5 for him. And guys, if you'd like to rate the Raws, you are welcome to message in the nation. Somebody could create a thread. Maybe Brand will create a thread once a week for Raw and NXT, and you guys can, in the comments after watching Raw, let us know your rating, and then maybe we'll mention it on the at the end of the show.
That would be cool. Yeah.
So next week, maybe in the nation, either Brant or I will post rating for Raw, and then you guys can leave your ratings, and then I'll read them, or Brant will read them off at the end of the episode.
Yeah, that's cool. Or sometime during the episode. Either way, whatever works.
Yeah, anywhere. Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, that's your Raw.
And it was better. A lot better.
And let's hope it continues to get better all the way to WrestleMania like it should.
Absolutely. There was some backstage stuff I'm sure we missed. There was some Dean Ambrose stuff, but
yeah.
Oh, Dean Ambrose, he got hospitalized.
I forgot all about that.
That left me completely. Yeah, he got hospitalized, and then he got the match with Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania. Woo.
Yeah, he drove the ambulance back, and couldn't quite get it in because he ran over a trash can and he wouldn't go forward. Did you notice that?
Yep. And then also he dragged himself to the ring. Man, the way he walked to the ring.
He was half dead, but he took the F5 and all this stuff. It was interesting. It was, whatever. It was typical. We've seen that a million times.
And he's going to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, right? Because they're playing it up so much that he's getting his ass kicked by Brock that it's going to be like an extreme. Oh no, it's going to be.
It is. It's a no holds barred match. Yeah, that's the only way he can beat Brock. Unfortunately, that's the way they're playing it. But I mean, that's nobody can beat Brock except for John Cena apparently and the Undertaker. So, whatever.
John Cena apparently could beat anyone he wants.
Yeah.
Why come back and face, oh God, what's his name? Braun Strowman, and he'll be the first one to defeat him one-on-one. Then I'm done with wrestling for good until John Cena retires.
You'll be done for a while.
Probably a while, yeah. But I'd go to NXT, and then he would invade NXT, and then I'd quit wrestling. Go to UFC.
But speaking of being done, we are done with this episode.
Yes, there we are.
So, of course, tune in, Sunday, Monday for NXT?
I'd say Sunday, since we're going to have NXT done. So Sunday this week.
Yeah, so tune in Sunday for NXT, and be looking for us on SoundCloud with episode 30, and check out all our other stuff, of course.
Links in the description below. Dark Avenger Live, since this is going up Friday morning, Dark Avenger Live will be live tonight at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I say 9 o'clock, but I always wait that 5 minutes. I set up at 9, I get nice and comfy in my bed, on the bed here, and then we go live at 05.
And when Chris says 9:05, he means 9:15.
No, when I say 9 o'clock, I mean 9:05.
I know, and if he says 9:15, he means 9:30 or 9:45. And if he says 9:45, he means 11.
And if I say it's going to take me a good 5 minutes, that's about 2 hours later.
Exactly. But it's all good. You'll get it eventually.
I think we're due for a Chris and Brand show soon as well. Not this week.
I think it's next week, yeah.
Next week, yeah.
I believe so.
We're going to have a triple recording, that means. Or a double and then a single recording next week.
Grand Slam. I don't know. Anyway.
Home run!
That's going to do us for this episode of 1, 2, 3. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Take care, everybody.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.